Good morning, traders. This is Ed Carter with the Trader Vision 2020 Feature Trade Idea, the setup and trade plan for Monday, October 15th, 2018. Before we get started, I want to caution you that this is not a new trader's market. This is not for the faint of heart. This is going to be a very volatile market. The futures are down significantly again. We have been seeing a ton of that gap and reverse, gap and reverse, gap and reverse, both intraday and on the daily charts here recently. I would expect a bounce today, but as I said, last night the futures were up decently. This morning they're down 0.5% or more, and this is at 7:30 a.m. so it could in fact switch 2 or 3 times before the open. But I'm just cautioning you, this is not a market to get into. I want to sit on my hands, and that's probably what I'm going to do. However, because of the blog, I'm going to put out this trade idea, and you make your own decisions on that. With that said, today's featured trade idea will be JNUG, the junior miners. It's a 3x bull ETF, and let's see if I can't draw it here. We're working on sort of a shoulder and a head and a shoulder with a breakout level someplace. Well, we've just broken out, wherever that is. We're right at that level if we haven't broken out. But we're right in this neckline area here. It's kind of crooked probably. So that's what we're looking at. The hope would be for a Doji continuation here with this big bullish candle on Thursday, a big long wick, they call it a rickshaw, Doji. On Friday, lots of indecision. Right here at this breakout level, you can see I have left the volatility stop on here. Volatility has increased dramatically. Just look at the size of the candles in the last few days, and that means the volatility stop is further away. If you were to use the volatility stop, you'd be looking at a stop of something like 12%. Again, trading in this market is not for the faint of heart. I think you can argue with yourself that you can use this central pivot as a potential place to put your stop, but just based on the size of these candles, you have more risk of being stopped out at this level. This is also probably a short-term name, because starting in about 8 or 10 days, a lot of the miners will be reporting. So even though the ETF does not have earnings itself, if the junior miners, if they have bad forward guidance or they have bad earnings themselves, JNUG will be hit as well. So let's set up a very quick-hitting trade here, hopefully. Let's assume, let's see. Let's look for an entry here, basically above Friday's high. We'll put in a stop someplace, and we want to slip it down a little bit below these highs here and here, and hope that that will protect our stop some. Even so, that's going to give us a big stop of almost 2/3%, which may not work in the first place if our first target off the weekly is 9% and 17, and I'm probably only going to go with one target on this. Let's go out here to the weekly and look at where those levels were taken off of. You can see I've left the volatility stop as a guideline. It might tell us we could move that that level up some. I'm going to split this high and this high because that's right near those red dots. Horizontal volatility stops tend to mean a level of resistance is right there or nearby. Let's look at a few others. Yeah, here's the 8-day. You can see, I think I had drawn it down here, but I moved it up. Filling that gap could be a resistance level as well. Let's go ahead and look at 8 days, see if we get more. 5 days. On 5 days, there's no gap there. 8 days, we've got a gap at 966. No gap there. Let's leave it like this and see what we can do. So we'll make the third line here up in this area. And I think this needs to be moved down right into there. I guess we can move this up a touch. Let's plan a trade, see if it works. Okay, as you can see, we have 3 bullish and 3 bearish indications. This market is unsettled and undetermined. However, we do have the rounded bottom breakout working for us, and while it's not a signal to on Friday, it is a setup for a Doji Continuation Signal on Monday. So we'll see how that works out. We're going to plan this as 1 entry and 1 exit. Let's call the entry at 911. That's real tight, but let's make it that anyway. For argument's sake, let's call the stop here 867, and that first target is 994. Says we can do 340 shares. Let's look at 340 shares. That's a little bit too big. Let's drop it down to 300. That'll work. We don't get our 2 to 1 at that first target if in fact this is what we're looking at. We have no earnings date to worry about, but we have components or junior miners that will strongly influence JNUG reporting in 8 or 10 days. So I'm not real comfortable doing much to this. I might move this just a touch higher. Let's say that I moved it up to 874 and see if that would work for us. Yeah, and since it's at, well, let's move it down some more. Give ourselves some room to work. Okay. We can get our 2 to 1 if we use an 870 stop. So that's going to be right there. Close enough. So that will be our trade idea for today. Again, be very careful. The only way this plans out to my liking is with a tighter stop than we should use. You can see the volatility stop's twice as far away or more than where the stop we placed it in is. But it's hard to get past the fact that that series of highs is going to be a breakout level, and is something we need to get over. So that's where our entry is going to be, and then up in this area, off of the weekly, is going to be our target. Again, let's go out to that weekly. And you can see that target area has some touches in here, as well as that horizontal line of the V-stop. So that's going to be our trade plan for today. JNUG, if you do take this, I wish you the best of luck. If you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe below. And we hope to see you in the trading room.